Hello, we are the Entrepreneurs Unity Group. I'm going to go through an episode called Liberation from the Thai mystery thriller anthology series Girl from Nowhere. The Bangkok-based Pantana Wittaya School is often regarded as the country's most authoritarian educational institution. It is said that even the naughtiest students can be tamed by the time they leave here. There are a total of 427 regulations that must be obeyed on a daily basis at this institution. There's a whole book devoted to these regulations since they're that extensive. The consequences for disobedience are severe, including exclusion from society, physical pain, and even death. The students are perpetually on edge as a result of this. They don't seem to care about anything, don't have any personality, and behave like puppets. The teachers, on the other hand, are cold and harsh. All they care about is causing harm to the students. As a result, the once pretty school now seems drab and lifeless. The principal, however, is the only one allowed to wear a bright pink suit within the building. The show opens with Nano, a new pupil at Pantana Wittaya School. She's a happy, outgoing girl who enjoys life, but once she passes through the gate, everything becomes monochrome. Upon entering the classroom, the instructor prompts her to identify herself. Nano complies and greets her new acquaintances, but they only offer a blank smile in return. As soon as class begins, Nano chooses a seat next to a timid-appearing female. Without success, she tries to strike up a conversation. After that, when Nano is unpacking her things, she drops her dark red lipstick. This stands out starkly against the monotony of her classroom, and her peers have taken note. The teacher is preoccupied, and the timid-appearing female quickly takes advantage of the situation. Nano accepts her gratitude, then hastily stows the item away in her luggage. However, Lisa, the school's disciplinary head, and her goons arrive shortly thereafter. It turns out that she is the most brutal educator in the country. Upon seeing her, some students' stomachs drop out of fear. Lisa is here today to perform an unannounced bag search. When it's Nano's turn to speak, she does her best to explain that rummaging through someone else's possessions is a serious breach of their privacy. Lisa, however, grabs her bag and rummages through its contents. The students are holding their breath, hoping the lipstick will turn up soon. However, much to their dismay, it turns out to be missing. Nano, ever astute, has undoubtedly stashed it away. As Lisa walks away with her henchman, she smiles threateningly. Very quickly after that, Nano begins to reveal her actual nature. She is a rebel whose goal is to alter the traditions of Pantana Wittaya School. She isn't interested in learning or making friends, but rather in exacting revenge on her oppressive educators. Step 1 involves her applying lipstick in front of the entire class. Everybody is in shock since this is never supposed to happen. Nano then joins the reserved girl at lunchtime. Even if the latter has begun opening up, she warns Nano to curb her shenanigans. She describes 2 kids who were punished by being transported to the dreaded repentance room. After 3 days, the students still haven't been released. Incredibly, Nano seems completely unfazed by this news. She begins to laugh uncontrollably instead. Lisa, who is nearby, notices this and becomes interested. As soon as she sees Nano with lipstick, she removes it and puts it away. Nano's punishment is to stand in the sun and try to memorize all 427 rules from the book. Our rogue girl, on the other hand, is not going to be bullied. Nano begins giggling at every regulation in the book while the minions watch. Students and even some of the faculty members are interested in this. Nano pulls out a lighter and burns the book to the ground in front of Lisa, who has also arrived. Nano, in response to accusations that she's lost her mind, insists, "There's no rule that says you can't burn the book." She is taken there anyhow, where 2 speakers incessantly play the 437 rules over and over again. Nano remains unfazed by this situation, which would drive most people nuts. She yawns and chuckles as if this were just another day in her life. On the following day, Nano is back in her classroom. This time, she's showing her defiance with a bright green ribbon. Nano surprises her classmates by returning so quickly and announcing that she has learned all 427 classroom regulations. She also claims the atonement chamber was less terrifying than she had anticipated. The students could throw a huge party if they all disregarded the rules and did something illegal. As the attention of her students begins to turn toward her, Lisa walks in. Nano's freedom comes as a surprise to her, but even she can't recall letting her go. Lisa tries to get the girl to follow the rules, but she just complains, "This school sucks." Lisa finally loses her patience and takes Nano back to the confessional for another round of punishment. Lisa then shines bright lights into the girl's eyes and forces her to repeat the 427 rules once they arrive. All day long, this keeps happening. However, Nano is back in her classroom in the evenings. In this iteration, she has gone all the way to purple with her hair dye. It appears that at this point, the majority of the class agrees with her. Nano is making progress toward her goal. And sure enough, Lisa revisits the atonement chamber with her. When she gets there, she inquires of Nano as to her motivation. The girl with the purple hair laughs for a moment, then insists that the entire system needs to be altered. The restrictions placed on students' freedom by the school administration must be lifted. Lisa loses it after hearing all this. She uses pliers to cut out Nano's tongue as the ultimate punishment. Nonetheless, Nano still can't control his laughter, even if the pain is excruciating. Yuri, a brand new student, walks over to Lisa later as she's sitting in her office, reflecting on her day. She says hello and explains that she and Nano went to high school together back in the day. Yuri then asks to be promoted to head inspector because she is the only one who can control Nano. Lisa doesn't trust her, so Yuri pulls out her phone to display a screenshot of the student revolt group chat. She admits she assumed a false persona to spy on the students. Lisa is so convinced by Yuri's qualifications that she decides to promote him to chief inspector. The next scene shows the repercussions meted out to the group chat's delinquent students. The entire night is spent on their knees. With time, Yuri earns Lisa's trust and eventually wins entry to her office. One day, she secretly enters the office and reads sensitive files. Evidently, Yuri is involved as well. Nano has resumed her studies as well. After having her tongue removed only a few days ago, she is now able to communicate. Upon reaching her workstation, she discovers an envelope waiting for her. It has a red bow and the words "Top Secret" printed on it. Nano merely grins as she rips open the envelope. The next scene picks up a few hours later as Nano packs up her posters and leaves for an unknown location. Along the way, she runs with her old enemy Yuri, who is also sporting a ribbon that looks suspiciously like the one on the package. Given this, it can be safely assumed that she was the one who sent it. It would appear that Nano is in a rush, as she merely urges Yuri to move out of the path before she leaves. She finally makes it to the top floor and gets ready to plaster some posters there. Lisa, however, comes just in time to put a stop to it. Nano, with a sneer on her face, responds to her question about the posters by saying that they include everything she needs to know about the corruption of the school. The government and other groups give the institution millions of dollars annually so that they can invest in campus improvements. But hardly even 5% of those resources are ever put to use. The school's still filthy, its buildings are falling apart, and the cafeteria fare is disgusting. All the teachers are obviously hoarding the money for themselves. As a result of hearing this, Lisa loses her temper and makes an attempt to steal the posters. Nano resists letting go, leading to a brief struggle. Yuri, unexpectedly, is filming the entire scene from a discreet location. After some time, she walks up to the two of them and violently pushes Nano off the balcony. The brutal murder of Nano has left the entire school in shock. Yuri, meanwhile, rips down the posters and tells the pupils that their professors are corrupt. She then shares the group chat the footage she recorded earlier, furthering the impression that Lisa was to blame for Nano's murder. The strategy is successful. The students' anger is stoked after they view the film and read the placards. In a flash, they morph into wild beasts and begin to pursue all of the Pantana Witaya school faculty members. Lisa, like the other educators, is captured and subjected to binding and beating. After a while, all of the educators have gathered in the auditorium. Yuri, speaking for the kids, takes the microphone and declares a rule modification. The students have been oppressed and tortured for a long time, but things are about to change. If the professors don't play by their rules, the students will face consequences in the repentance chamber. After this, she hands out pieces of paper and instructs all the educators to write out their apologies. Evil Lisa, on the other hand, just laughs and refuses to write anything down while the others comply. One of the students becomes so infuriated by this that he puts another student in a chokehold to teach her a lesson. He's so caught up in the moment that he doesn't notice Lisa's stopped breathing. Everyone in school turns on the youngster after learning that he murdered their teacher. Some people think he should go to the repentance room, while others want him dead. Thankfully, just as things are about to get out of hand, the principal walks in with a gun. When everyone else backs down at his threat, he sets free the instructors who had been held captive. After then, the principal offers the kids a choice. As long as they own up to their wrongdoing and swear to never disobey again, he will pardon them for anything they've done, even if it means sacrificing Lisa. Some pupils choose to keep silent while others start groveling for pardon as soon as he says this. Yuri is an example of one such person. Eventually, the principal will round together all of the misbehaving students and punish them together. First, he contacts Yuri, since she is the catalyst for this whole thing. He then produces a knife and readies himself to murder her. But then, out of the blue, Yuri suddenly arrives, covered in blood. She apparently underwent a miracle resurrection. After that, 3 alternate identities of her appear. One of them has her tongue surgically removed, another is sporting a green ribbon, and the third is the Nano who has just arrived at the school. It seems that whenever Nano was made to feel bad, a new version of her would take her place. This explains why she continued to return to her classroom even after being barred from leaving the repentance room. All of the doors are locked by the 4 Nanos, locking the frightened educators within. Then, the recently deceased Nano appears as a version of himself to confront the headmaster and warn him to drop the weapon. The second responds negatively and raises a gun to shoot the first, but at that very moment, every student in the room pulls out his or her smartphone, which is armed with the most lethal weapon in the world. They broadcast a live video of their terrible principal, who is prepared to kill students in the sake of discipline. The large, chubby principal is so frightened that he drops the gun. As soon as he does, the students converge on him and quickly subdue him. Nano prevents the crafty Yuri from taking advantage of the confusion and running away. The entire Pantanawittaya school administration is completely brought to its knees in this manner. The students need no longer worry about getting disciplined. They are allowed to act like any other carefree teenagers would, naughty and pranksterish. Nano traps her archenemy Yuri and all of the faculty members in the atonement chamber in the last act. Since she has accomplished her goal, she leaves the institution permanently.